Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, the power of holding the line. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. We also do have the premium list. Go check it out. The prices are going to be going up in just a few days. If you want to lock in the lower rate, you can do so. You have just a few more days. Before we jump in, I recently did another collaboration with Jordan. So if you're not subscribed to Jordan, go check him out. Conquer the Markets. I'll put a link down to his YouTube channel in the description below. He puts out a lot of great content. And I mean, he primarily focuses on Bitcoin, but I do think he does a great job. So go check him out, Conquer the Markets, and I will leave a link to that down below. Let's go ahead and jump in. All right. So one of the things I've seen people discuss a lot recently is, where are we going from here, right? Like it sort of seems like people are still, there's some bears that are still holding out hope that this is a dead cat bounce. And as I said before, this is not a dead cat bounce, right? This is not a dead cat bounce. If you wanted to make that case, I think it was at least understandable in this move here. I think it was at least understandable that someone may think that, even though I said, we understand the reasons why people think this. The evidence is a lot more overwhelming to say that no, we're actually gonna go above 64K this cycle. We're not gonna have to wait several years to see a Bitcoin above 64K. And we've made the comparisons to 2013 and whatnot. You guys know the drill. But I think that even if you did buy the bear case, right? Even if you did believe that this was either going to continue to just go down like this forever, or if it was just going to be a dead cat bounce and then go back down like this, I really do struggle to understand at this point why the bears are still holding on to that narrative, okay? Because this does not look like a dead cat bounce at all, and in fact, it more or less played out in a very systematic way, right? We had a bounce off the 50-week. All right, so let's go look. We had a bounce off the 50-week. And what happened? Right, what happened with the bounce off the 50-week? Well, the reason why a lot of people were skeptical is after major peaks in the past, we've had bounces off the 50-week, okay? We've had it. It's happened before. What else happened, though? In every instance, after bouncing off the 50-week, and we actually really have, I mean, there's this one here, there's this one. We also had one in 2019. Okay, but what is different this time? Again, we held the line, right? We failed to hold it here. We did not hold it. We failed to hold it. We didn't even get above it there. We did not hold it here. This time, we held the line. And what's interesting too is that we sort of held the line on actually a lot of different moving averages, and maybe it was that convergence of a lot of moving averages that helped. You could argue that we also the 50-week came to provide some support as well. For instance, if we did not even have the bull market support band, if we were completely oblivious to the 20-week SMA and the 21-week EMA, and we just looked at this, we might argue that, hey, look, it held the 50-week over here, and it also held the 50-week over here. By the way, currently the 50-week moving average is coming in at a very modest 41.1K. 41.1, so we got a ton of wiggle room now. We got nothing but wiggle room. Okay, we're $15,000 above the 50-week moving average at the current time. Furthermore, the 50-week, we almost touched it. I think it helps provide support, right? The bull market support band. Look at this on the daily time frame. I mean, this is what we prepared for months. We said, all right, guys, we're going to get a lull. At some point, we're going to break above the 20-week. And then we did it in August, and I said, all right, look to see us go maybe up to around 50K. But then in September, look for a pullback back to the 20-week. Once we hold it, what did I say? I mean, once we held it up, I always said once we held it, we have clear skies ahead. I don't think we need another test of the 20-week to put in new all-time highs. I'm not saying it can't happen. I mean, certainly anything is possible. But I don't think we have to go back down to the 20-week before putting in new all-time highs. Another moving average that we didn't really discuss that may have also come to help a little bit was the 100-day. And you can also see that we held support on the 100-day SMA as well, which more or less corresponded to the 20-week. Okay, so a lot of support lines coming in to the rescue at around 40K, and here we are, right? I mean, look how quickly we moved from 40K, and now we're chilling just below 57K. A fairly nice move by Bitcoin in a relatively short period of time. What does it show you? It shows you what the power of holding the line is, right? When Bitcoin holds the line, this is what happens. It gets a nice move back up, a really nice move back up. And look, we're not under the assumption that we're not going to have pullbacks. We know we're going to have pullbacks. I mean, pullbacks are just are part of the game, right? It's the game you play, and we likely will have pullbacks. The question is, of course, is the pullback going to be at a higher price than it is today, right? Is that going to happen? And again, we're talking about like weekly time frames here. I'm not looking at daily time frames or hourly time frames or whatnot. Some people will say, well, I'm going to render your analysis wrong because you said that, Bitcoin should trend higher with time, but look at this 4-hour candle. It actually went down. We don't care about that. Don't miss the forest for the trees. Let's just look at the market, overall market here, and say, look, this time we held the line, and after putting in a local high in August of 53K, after that, which is what a lot of bears were saying was the dead cat bounce, which by the way was a redrawn line from their prior 51 to 52K predictions, then we bounced higher. And instead of then admitting that, all right, yeah, we went above the 51 to 52K region, or even let's say 53K, instead of just saying, all right, it actually looks like the market is bullish, we were wrong, what do? They just change what the theoretical upper bound is, and they change it to 57K, and once 57K broke, and then it went all the way almost to 58K, then they just say, all right, well, now you got to put in new all-time highs. Something I don't really understand is if you're going to tell me that you have to wait for Bitcoin to get a new all-time high before you'll speculate on the market cycle not being over. That's not analysis, right? That's not what is useful about that. You're waiting until something happens to declare that it happened, right? You don't need someone on YouTube to tell you that. So, look, it's all dubious speculation, of course. At the end of the day, no one fully knows what the hell's going to happen. But if someone is saying that we're still very likely to go down, and then the only way the market cycle is still intact is if we put in a new all-time high, and then they'll admit it, I mean, come on, right? What does that even mean? Like you wait until after it made a bounce from 29K to 64 or 65K, and then you get bullish? I mean, maybe that's when we get a pullback, when the bears turn bullish and FOMO, and I don't know. But look, the market, as far as I can tell, and I've been honest with you guys, I've told you guys every step of the way what I think is going to happen. I said, we're going to get a lull. We're not going to have a V-shaped recovery, right? Unlike my hairline, I said we're not going to have a V-shaped recovery. Okay, we didn't get a V shape. Some people still claim this is V. I don't know what type of hellish V this is. It's not a V. If anything, it's more like a U or maybe like a W or something. But regardless, I said no V-shaped recovery here. We need a summer lull. Eventually, we'll get back above it and bounce off the 50-week. Come back down to hold it out support. And what happens after you hold it out support? I think clear skies ahead. Okay. Now, do we have more resistance we have to get through? Of course. What are the main areas? By the way, when we talk about resistance levels, are these resistance levels that are going to hold us down forever? No, right? No. They're resistance levels that are going to provide, some type of a hurdle for Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean we can't overcome them. Okay, it's the same thing that happened at 20K, right? I mean, when we first came up to 20K, we got rejected off it a few times. I think, a couple times we sort of got rejected off of that 19.5, 19.8 region. But ultimately, Bitcoin prevailed and it continued higher. And then once it got past the prior all-time high, right? Once it got past it, it moved relatively quickly, okay? So something like that. Now, what if we were to dubiously speculate on that and maybe even take a bar pattern? And let's just, again, I consider this part of the same cycle, just like I would consider 2013 one cycle. But let's just look at this. All right, let's look at this and say, well, what if we were to dubiously speculate? It approaches it in the same way, okay? Again, it's nothing more than dubious speculation. That's all we really do here. Some people get offended by that, but I don't really claim that it's anything more than dubious speculation. So imagine we come up to it and we do find a little bit of resistance for a while. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. Um, I mean, this could, it could have us putting in new all-time highs potentially by November. Okay, I mean, I think that's certainly a possibility that Bitcoin is able to put in new all-time highs by November. I'm not saying that other coins are going to put in new all-time highs by November, but I think Bitcoin, there's a decent chance that it can. If it's not putting in new all-time highs by November, I think the only reason would be is because this area is providing a little bit more resistance than we might anticipate. That would be the only reason. And the reason I say that is because this one took a couple of weeks to maybe 3 weeks to really pass, but we only had previously had it as a single major blow off top. We spent a lot of time up here. I mean, we're talking about from February until May. All right. So, is it certainly possible that we don't immediately go above it and maybe we come up and, we spend some time in this region and then maybe even come down and then break it later? Yeah, that's certainly possible. And we'll keep it in mind, right? Like, we're going to keep that in mind. I'm not here to say, it has to break out immediately, but it is certainly possible that we slice through resistance levels like butter. So keep these areas in mind. Remember that I try to look at the market from an unbiased perspective. In the past, I provided the evidence for the bull case. I provided the evidence for the bear case. I said, while there's evidence both ways, the bull case has overwhelmingly more evidence, so it makes sense to lean bullish. Now, I would say it's only even more in favor of the bulls, right? It's only more in favor of the bulls. We've taken out these, we put in a higher low. We've already put in a higher high. We held the line at the 20 week. We held the line at the 50 week. We even held the line at the 100 day. Bitcoin looks pretty bullish from here. I think the main thing that's going to provide us resistance is this region right here. Okay, I think this is probably just the main resistance area we're going to have. Above that, in terms of like where we could go above that, I would speculate there's probably going to be some resistance getting into that 100K region as well, and we could very well bounce off of that a few times before ultimately breaking above. So again, just dubiously speculating. Let's suppose we don't get above this right away. Maybe we break it out in November or something, and then we make a move up to this region. I would speculate that we're going to have some issues getting through it on the first attempt. But I would say this. I do think the market cycle peak is above 100K. Okay, so I know we have all sorts of theories based on where Bitcoin's going to peak. I do think we will peak above 100. Okay, I think it'll be above 100. And what I could imagine is a long battle at 100K, and I watch it just go through it like it's not even there. But again, dubious speculation. Think about a potential long battle at 100K. This is sort of like a more bullish scenario where we're breaking it, in just a few months. Maybe a more conservative would be something like this, where it takes a little bit longer. But regardless, imagine a scenario where we are just kind of going up against 100K and we got sellers. Everyone's going to want to sell it. Well, some people are going to want to sell at 100K. When we break above that level, whether it happens this year, early next year, I do believe that the peak is somewhere above that. And above 100K is probably the mania phase, like the major mania phase. Now that also depends on how we get there. If it takes longer, if the route to 100K ends up taking longer, and let's suppose we come down, we get rejected, we go back up, we get rejected again, and then we come back up like this, and then we ultimately doing something like this, then maybe we have more room. Like maybe we have a little bit more room, and it ends up doing something like that. But I do believe that when we get to 100K, there will be a significant amount of resistance there. But I would say I think we'll break through it. I think we will break through it, just like I think we'll break through 64K. What do we need? We need time and lots of it. All right. So I think we're going to see the power of holding the line. We held it. Never feels like we're going to hold it, right? I said that back then. It never feels like we're going to hold it. We held it. Now we just got to wait, be patient, and eventually I do think Bitcoin will very likely take out some of these prior levels. But breaking through this is probably not going to be easy. We need time and lots of it. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember, we do have the premium list. You'll get access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, trading indicators, and more. So make sure you guys check it out. Prices are going to be going up later this week. So definitely subscribe, lock in the low rate. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.